Okay, sorry that there's part 1 and part 2. There were lots of technical difficulties during recording. So we got them all fixed, or I got them all fixed. We're ready to go. So we're on example 5b. The first one is our 5a. Then we go on down to plus 4a squared, not the same like term, minus 3a, that is the same like term. So we're going to take the minus sign with it, plus 4a, okay, so that's the same like term, minus 6a squared. So not the same like term. So we have negative 5 plus negative 3 is 2, and 2 plus 4 is 6, so this gives us 6a. Then we have positive 4a squared and a negative 6a squared. So 4 plus negative 6 is going to give us negative 2a squared. Now, we just talked about writing them in descending order. So our final answer here actually needs to be negative 2a squared plus 6a. That would be the best answer we could give because our variables are written in descending order. Let's try the next one, C. Now we're getting into having combined variables. All right, so we have a 4x squared y. Okay, so we're going to have to look for that exact same thing, x squared y, to have like terms. So we have plus 5xy, no, minus 10x squared y, that is a like term. It's x squared y, plus 22xy, not a like term, minus x, nope, and plus y, no. All right, so 4 plus negative 10x is, x squared y is negative 6x squared y. All right, then we're going to move on over to plus 5xy and plus 22xy. Those have the same like term. Negative 8x, no. Plus y, no. So 5 plus 22 is a positive 27xy. Then we have a negative 8x and no others. So we're just going to write negative 8x. Essentially, we're bringing that down. And then we have a positive y, no other like term. So this is just going to be plus y. That is as simplified as that one gets because each of these terms is different. We have an x squared y, an xy, an x, and then a y. Okay, but they're not like terms. Okay, the last one for D. 4x squared y squared. That's supposed to be, or y, I'm sorry, x squared y z. Sorry, that's a z. Then we have 2x squared y, nope. xy squared, no. And xyz, that's not a like term. Okay. The next one is positive 2x squared y. Then we have an xy squared, but that's not the same. And then we have an xyz. That's not the same. Okay, so then we have an xy squared, positive xy squared. But our last one is xyz, so that's not the same. So this one is can't be simplified. There aren't any like terms, so can't be simplified any further. It's already simplified in this case, okay? There's no like terms, so we might write no like terms, just for you to know. All right, so some crazy fun stuff there. All right, the last ones are in example 8. So let me clear my board here and move it up, and then you'll be ready for your on your own problems. So example 8, we're going to simplify and work on these parentheses and things a little bit. So in the first one, there's nothing to distribute, so we can just kind of eliminate and get rid of our parentheses here. So 2x plus 5, because they're not like terms, we can't combine them anyway. In the next one, we have a plus sign. Well, if we multiply, if we distribute a positive 1, it doesn't change anything, right? Positive 1 times 3x is still positive 3x. A positive times a negative 9 is still a negative 9. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's crazy. We've never done that before. But if we look at the next one, this is a negative. It's a minus. If we wrote this as the additive inverse, it would be plus a negative 1 sorry, there's my negative, times x minus 6. We always take the sign and distribute. It's like we're multiplying by a negative 1. And then we have to do it. We did it with the positive, but it doesn't change anything. We do it subconsciously, but it doesn't change anything, so we don't notice it. So here we're taking a negative 1 times x is going to give us a negative x. A negative 1 times a negative 6 is going to give us a plus 6. So we distributed. That was the first thing to do. Next up, we need to combine like terms. So I have a 2x, a positive 3x, and a negative x. So 2x plus 3x is 5x, plus a negative x is 4x. And then we have positive 5, negative 9, positive 6. So 5 plus negative 9 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 6 is a positive 2. So we have 4x plus 2 there. So it's kind of a hard way to see the distributive property. Let's try the next one. Maybe that'll make it a little easier. So we have the 3k outside of our parentheses that we need to distribute. So 3k times k, it gives us 3k squared, because k times k is k squared. 3k times a positive 2 is going to give us a positive 6k, because 3 times 2 is 6. For the next one, we have a negative. We're going to take the sign in front. Makes life easier. Negative k times k is going to give us a negative k squared. Negative k times a negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive, so this is going to be a plus 1k, because we don't have to write the 1. All right, now we combine like terms. 3k squared is like negative k squared. So 3k squared plus negative k squared is 2k squared. And 6, a positive 6k plus k, well, 6 plus 1 is 7k. Because remember, this is a 1k. We just don't write it. All right, and C is a tough little one that we've got to do. All right, so let's see if you can follow along and track with this one. All right, so we've got some distributive property that needs to happen right here. So I'm just going to copy down my problem. This is something we all need to work on. Just copy the whole thing down, okay, until we get there. So now I have a positive 4y, taking that whole thing, times 2x. So 4 times 2 is 8, so it's a positive 8xy. And then a positive 4y times a negative 8y. So positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times 8 is 32. Y times y is y squared. And I am done distributing because it was only to the things in parentheses. So now I'm just going to copy down minus 4x plus 5xy. Okay, this is why it's so important for you to show this step by step and write the whole equation out. Like, we're getting lost otherwise, and so we need to keep track of our numbers a little bit better. Okay, now since this is a minus sign, it's like saying the same thing as plus a negative 1, we need to distribute it to everything inside the brackets. Okay, so we're going to have 7x squared. It hasn't changed. A negative times a positive is going to give us a negative 3x. A negative times a positive 8xy is going to give us a negative 8xy. A negative times a negative 32y is going to give us a positive 32y squared. And a negative times a negative 4x is going to give us a positive 4x. And then plus 5xy. All right, we do not need our braces anymore because we distributed. Okay, like here, we had parentheses, but once we distributed, we got rid of the parentheses. Once we distribute, we can get rid of the brackets. Okay, that's how we get around the order of operations that says we have to do our grouping symbols first, is we distribute into the grouping symbols and then we get rid of them. All right, now we're ready to combine like terms. So we have a 7x squared first. Do we have any other 7x squareds? Nope. So we're going to keep it 7x squared. All right, then I have a negative 3x. Okay, any other x's? Oh, I have a 4x. So negative 3 plus 4 is going to give me 1. So I'm just going to write plus x. Then next I have a negative 8xy. Do I have any other xy's? Yes, at the end here. So negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3xy. Very good. And then our last one is a positive 32y squared. We don't have any others, so we bring it down and put it in there. Plus 32y squared. All right, so that is it for your simplified terms. Remember, we must distribute the negative in front of the parentheses because it's the same thing. It's the additive inverse as plus a negative 1. So we're really distributing the negative 1 out there. Okay. All right, do your on your own so you can check it and get started on your homework.